January 13th, and this is the first Thoughts from the Basement of 2024. Now, I've been basically stuck in my own body lately. It's been an issue where I'm a lot of pain, so I've had a lot of time to kind of sit around and look at things that really interest me. In doing so, I've found kind of a rabbit hole of something called the sovereign citizen. Now, I don't know how much you know about this, but this was completely new to me. I'd never heard of such a thing. Evidently, this was a movement that was created back in the 1970s in which citizens basically feel like they are not subject to laws in the states. So let me just look at this really quick. So, here it is. A sovereign citizen is someone who believes that they are not subject to the laws and regulations of the government they live under. They often reject the legitimacy of the government, its currency, its taxation, and its authority over them. They may also engage in illegal activities such as tax evasion, fraud, forgery, or violence against public officials because they don't really believe that they can be arrested for anything. Not to, be over dramatic, but it's kind of like the purge. The sovereign citizen movement is a loose group of people who share these anti-government views. It's originated back in the 1970s and has since spread to some other countries. It's funny to listen to the Australians do this. The movement is considered a source of pseudo-law and domestic terrorism by law enforcement agencies. And I know that seems a little harsh, but it often happens where they are very violent and very confrontational with police. At some points, pulling weapons and physical altercations have occurred. It's ridiculous. I'm just going to go on record right now. It's my thinking that this is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard of in my life, but damn, it's entertaining to watch. I'm sure it's not entertaining to be involved in it, but man, some of these videos are so bad. And I'm not going to point fingers or put any political points to this, but I have to say, it sounds a lot like a Trumpism. And they have actually said that Donald Trump saved me from the police, so on and so forth. I'm not making that up. It actually happens in some of these videos. So let me give you an example of how this is happening.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing today?
Trooper Kelly with the state police. I stopped you. You don't have a plate on the back of the car.
Yeah,
What's that?
Yeah, I understand. I'm aware.
You have a license, registration, or anything?
No, I actually don't need that. I'm traveling. I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
Do you have an ID or anything?
No, but I don't need to provide that. I haven't broken any traffic violations.
I can't hear you. You mind stepping out?
No, I'd rather not, but...
What's that?
I would rather not, to be honest. But
I can't hear anything you're saying.
I'll speak up for you. I would rather not, to be honest.
Okay.
But what I was saying is I'm not driving, I'm traveling. So therefore I don't need a license or registration. You only need that when you're driving on the roadway, transporting goods or people for money.
Now, this is just an example, one of about 1,000 that I have seen over the past couple of months of the same thing. They all seem to follow the same set of rules, which are not grounded in any type of reality. There is not one situation that they have been told, no, this is fine. Continue to do what you need to do in life. We don't mind. You want to break the law? Fine. You want to hit somebody with a car? No problem. You're just traveling. You're not driving. You're not operating in commerce. You don't have to identify yourself as any given person because, according to you, you don't have an identity of your own from the government. Now, this is also something that's interesting. Some believe that because of the way their name looks on a birth certificate, that name does not apply to them. Therefore, they are not an actual citizen of these United States. They are a native citizen and have different rights than anybody else. Now, what that means is on a birth certificate, you'll notice that because of things called typewriters, everything's pretty much in uppercase. So they look at that and go, these capital letters are not my name. My name consists of one capital letter and the rest are lowercase. Therefore, the court does not hold or the government does not hold any power over me because that is not my name. Yeah, it is your name. It just has big letters. So this is something that somebody thought up as being a viable argument towards any type of government legislation and or the ability to drive, in this case, travel, and not be pulled over or harassed in any way by the police because that's how they view it as harassment. Like you're doing something wrong. They are the ones that are getting harmed by it. as you were listening to this situation, and they not only have this already memorized in their head, but they have actual paperwork from somewhere. I'm not actually sure where they're getting this paperwork. I looked it up online, and yeah, I found a couple instances of it, but none of it translates to what they're getting. So I'm having to assume that they're going through some pseudo government that has been made up. It basically like a Facebook group of people that have their own laws and their own pieces of paper and stuff like that. So people bring out binders and like, this is this and this is that, and this is the reason why I don't have to do that. And they even go as far as to say we are registered with the Department of Justice. What they don't tell you, it is their own Department of Justice, not the actual United States Department of Justice. They have their own constitutional pieces. They have their own way of looking at life. And, we're in America. You do whatever you need to do, but that kind of stops after a certain point. Like, you cannot, yes, you have a pursuit of happiness. Yes, you have the ability to quote unquote travel, just not in a car. You can be happy, just don't kill anybody. You're not allowed to steal anything. Their frame of mind is, I can do whatever I want and you don't have the power to stop me. I don't have to pay for your crazy registration and your crazy insurance and your cigarette holders and your mass transits and your running water. We don't have to do any of that because it says right here in our Constitution, quote unquote, that we do not have to follow these rules. Therefore, we are not going to. And I wish I could say this was isolated, but it's not. It is rampant throughout the states and sometimes in different countries. Now, I'm not sure how that works, but in like the UK, they do the same thing, citing the Constitution of the United States, which doesn't say half of what they're claiming, and they're not even American citizens. Same thing with Australia. There was actually one I heard in Germany. It was like, yeah, I don't have to do this. I don't have to give you my identification because I am not driving, I'm traveling. And that's kind of how it was through that whole traffic stop. So it amazes me how something as ridiculous as this actually spreads throughout the world and people actually believe it. There's not one cop in any video that I have seen who has said, oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to encroach on your rights. I thought I was doing my job. But evidently now that you've explained this to me, I know that I'm wrong. No. And quite honestly, that is the reason why they allow themselves to be pulled over, because it's not like they're respecting any law enforcement. What they are doing is finding this as an opportunity to educate others. It's so far, in fact, that they will ask for a supervisor, which they believe knows everything that they're saying. In these statements, as you know, the Constitution says this, this, and this. Okay, well, that really doesn't pertain to what we're doing right now. I just asked who you were. Well, I need to educate you on what the Constitution says. Well, okay, but I still need to know who you are. So and I don't mean to be mean in any way. This is not, pointing fingers necessarily, but it sounds like how Jehovah's Witnesses show up at your house, bang on your door, and they're like, we need to tell you about Jesus Christ. Or, the Mormon guys will come over, same thing. And you can hide in your house and pretend they're not there. However, in this situation, the cops can't because they're stuck there in a traffic stop. Therefore, they're being told these lies and these things from the sovereign citizen, and they just have to stand there until they're done and then pull them out of the car and arrest them. But this is why the sovereign citizen feels like they need to educate the officials of the state government on how they see things happening. It is beyond ridiculous, and I wish that these things would stop, at least for the cops' benefit, but for my benefit, shit funny, because people actually believe the crap that they're spouting about being a sovereign citizen. And it's not even this one group. They have another one called the Moorish sovereign citizen, which believe that in total they are their own government. They have their own constitution, their own Department of Justice, their own citizenship. They are considered in their mind foreign dignitaries, therefore immune to anything having to do with the state and federal laws. It's even funnier when these people get arrested because they are claiming immunity because of this designation given to them in online fake government. So I invite you to check that out. It is an amazingly ridiculous thing, but so fucking entertaining. So I'm going to leave it at that right there. You go ahead and ponder all the ridiculousness that I just gave you and know that it actually happens. Have a wonderful weekend and week, and we'll talk to you soon.